How you doing, everybody? Randy Richard in the shop. Today we're going to build the nut for the Clausing lathe cross slide screw. There you go. Get an idea what that's going to look like. It's kind of complicated, but we'll get it done in 30 minutes, I think. That's the goal. Let's go. Nice. we got the top of the saddle off, or the saddle off of the carriage. There we go. And pretty dirty. I'm going to clean this up. Get all this junk scraped. And we'll be a little farther along here. I need to measure this hole that's in here. I have a new nut I need to mark the center of for the cross slide. So try to take it all off, get a look inside the apron itself here, on the gearbox, and see how that looks. Drain the oil drain. It's an oil filled one. We'll drain the oil out and go from there. Get things pretty gunked up. Man, this thing was used and abused in the carriage here, and this is going to be the new nut body for the cross slide screw. I need to mark where the hole goes, right, to align up with the screw. Well, there's a precision hole in here where the screw comes through, and I'm assuming it looks concentric with the hole where this is the bearing carrier mount for that, and that's been bored and precision fit, so that all goes straight through. So I made a little like a drill guide piece that just fits in there, and I'm going to take this transfer punch, 3/8 transfer pump, and it just goes through there. So that's through there, and then our punch will go through there. Boom, boom. What we're going to do is this fits up through the center hole here. This is how it's mounted. It's not really, well, it is a fix. There's a set screw that goes in here, but that slips in there and travels there. And we'll get that as square as we can. Okay, I got a set screw holding that up in there. Bring that on down. Okay, let's give it a light tap. Kind of hard to tell, but center punch mark's right there, a bit off center. This hole is not in the center of the groove in the carriage here, and I discovered that when I was figuring out the size of this thing. The max size I could get in that slot. It's not perfectly in the center. I made it all symmetrical anyway, but I probably could have offset it a tiny bit. It really wouldn't have made that much difference. So I split the difference here. So my scribe line, my center point mark is exactly on the center line vertically. There, I marked out where the center is each way, and vertically it's right on the money. We're a little to the right, maybe 20 thousandths, not too much. And I also made it parallel with the side that's not worn on the slide, the Gibbs side, and I marked the other side, and it's about the same. I got a center punch mark on it too now, and it's about the same as far as this off to the one side. about 7/10 over 900. This one here measures 7/10, 5, 6, 6, 5, 5 to 6 tenths over. This one measures about the same, really. 7, well, a little more, 7/10 over. So we're within 1/10 on each of these. So that's amazing. But that last cut I did was just a spring pass because I was just half a tenth under 900. Now I'm a half a tenth over. So I think I'm going to leave the hole the way it is, and what I'll do is I'm just going to buff these a little bit to make these, because I need these to be a sliding fit, and I'd rather have this right there at 900, really close to that. That way it's a kind of a standard size, and because you can always make new ones of these and make them fit right. This came out really nice. As far as the bore goes, it just you can see lines, but you can't feel nothing. It came out really nice. I don't know what this metal is. It's steel, but I don't know what type, of course. But it's awesome to work with. I got it. One of the viewers gave me a chunk, and this is the second project I made with it. This is all I have left. But it's awesome. It's really not. It's not too hard to work with, but it just finishes up just beautiful. You know, as far as machining goes. Larry, yeah, this is from Larry Bastron, and he's up where the fires are near Santa Rosa there. So I hope Larry's doing okay up there. That's same with Ray Goff. They're really close. Ray's in Petaluma, but still he's really close. I hope everybody up that way is safe and doing well. So far, screw, the nut carrier, and the two nuts. And the two nuts are now keyed, and now they're keyed in place. So they'll slide linearly only. And we're going to do the adjustment locking mechanism now. That's the two nuts in there, keyed all the way through, one key. You can see that. There's a small gap between them. We'll I said, the key. That's one key all the way through. Right. You've seen the new shaft. Here's the new shaft. I took all this stuff off. I've been using it as a fitting thing, so it makes it a little easier. And I have the nut part complete. Here's the original nut. This is all one piece bronze. And of course, here's the original screw. The play. We get down there where that's where the threads are pretty good still. You get down here where it's knife threads, where evidently that's the range it's used a lot in, right? And you see that? That's almost a whole thread, so that's almost 100 thousandths. So quite a bit of play, right? And there's no adjustment to this. This fits up into the cross slide, and you have what you have. Well, I kind of borrowed a little bit of an idea of how my lance lathe is made. Let me take this off. I'm going to disassemble. So I kind of designed it. I didn't have a lot of space working with to do this, but I'll show you here. So I made a steel carrier that slips up into the cross slide just like that one. And I made two nuts. This one fits a little bit snugger, but it slides out. Two nuts. Key. The key stops the rotation in here. That keys them in, so they won't rotate. And you saw me broach that out. And here's the broach guide I had to make for this special, you know, because of the size. So that's goes right in there. We'll engrave that to so I know what size it is. And then up here, I have a double set screw set up. You can see down inside here, I'll show you. This set screw comes through. Not very much, but it will come through enough. And what that will do, now like I said, these are keyed together in here, but they're allowed to slide, you know, this way. Right, so they're keyed in there, but they're allowed to do this. So as wear happens, you can separate them a little bit, push them apart to take up that slop in the bushing. Hopefully the bushing is wearing, right? Not the screw so much, but you can take up that slop of where the wear for the wear, and you can keep your backlash down to a minimum. And by doing that, you need to push them apart. So I made this special set screw. You can see here I machined a 60-degree point on it, and I divoted right here at the joint between the two. Small screw, just a drill, quarter-inch drill, just to put a little starting point, so that when that comes down, you can screw that down and push them apart a little bit, and keep them apart. And that will make them tight. Or you don't want them too tight so you can't turn the thread, but tight enough that you can turn it all, you know, screw your lead screw through, but you'll have minimum backlash. Now nothing else is going to hold them in there except this pin, because when you turning the screw in one direction, it's pulling on this side, and this one will follow. It won't unscrew itself because it can't. It's still locked to the thread, so it won't come out, but your force is on this side, then in the other direction the force is on this side. But this here will keep them So there's just minimum play in your backlash, and lock them in place. On the vise it works. I mean, in the vise here it works fine. And my lance lathe is very similar to this, except they're separated by a bit, and they have this big wedge that goes down in there and pushes them apart. But the both nuts are captured to the cross slide. Where here, and I'm doing the same kind of thing here. I'm capturing them in here, so they can transfer the force to the cross slide. So that's what we're going to try, and we'll slip it back together here. Now they had a ball oiler in here, and what I'm figuring on is doing is just pull the set screws out, squirt some oil down in there every once in a while, and keep it lubricated. And if you screw in here, you can. These are just a little shy of the end of the block, and when they're tight, then you can screw in there, and it will push them apart. Anyway, it has to be apart. When I set them up, I had a small, about 30 thousandths aluminum washer between the two when I milled the keyway. So it started off with a tiny gap in there, so they're not like lock nuts. I mean, like it's not like it's double nutted together. You know, so their alignment, it has that little gap. Anyway, that screws right on there, and there's probably 3 or 4 thousandths. There's not much right there already, and so you just get that set. Then you put this one on top, and that will double nut it, or double lock the. I went a little too tight, I think. So that will lock that set screw, and you're good to go. So that's what we're going to try, and we'll see how it goes. And a little cheaper to replace them now. All you do is buy a piece of round stock and make a couple nuts, instead of having to buy a big chunk here, which was going to be considerably expensive. Buying a big enough piece to machine that out of a solid stock. This is a casting here. So I think that's gonna work. At least we're gonna give it a try. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for watching.